Hello comrades, the Honey Badger here with another guide. Buckle up, since this one's a monstrosity to build and it's easy to get it wrong sadly. However, once built, you will have enough chemicals to satisfy your entire industry needs. Let's see the topics firstly. Why this monstrosity makes sense, what research you need to have unlocked, building the 4 chemical plants, what profits should we expect from chemicals? Before we go on the first topic, remember to hit that subscribe button, and whilst you're there, might as well hit the like button too and leave a comment down below of what you think about this guide. Before we start building it, let's kick it off by explaining why this compound makes sense. In the end, you'll want one of each industry in your republic working at full capacity to satisfy both your export needs and your local needs. For simplicity's sake, I will keep the counter of chemicals above in the corner. Starting off with end products, in the electronics industry you're going to want a minimum of 1 electronics factory, 2 plastic factories and 2 electro-component factories. Then you got the clothing industry, which you're going to need 1 ton to make 2 fabric factories. Next place is aluminium. There you need 2 alumina plants and 1 aluminium plant. Then, going nuclear, you're going to need 1 ton of chems around there, somewhere around that number. Now, each 12,000 citizens, you need half a ton of chemicals for their water purification. Assuming you're targeting for 250k citizens, you wake up needing 20 water treatment plants, so 10 tons of chemicals are wasted here. Also, you would want to not pollute your citizens, so you need 4 waste treatment plants working at half capacity each, so 2.2 tons of chems needed here too. And that leaves you with 6.5 tons of chems to backfill your storages. And that's only for the minimum requirements. Imagine if you want to build more for whatever reason. This is the sole reason for chem plants make sense in this setup. So what research is needed? Chemistry. That's all. I swear that the research for this is way too simple for the complexity of the build, but oh well. Let's start building this monstrosity. Firstly, you need a space of 1 kilometer in both directions, and preferably to be located near your oil harbor that we built in the last guide. Secondly, you want to go into terrain mapping, that is F2, and then level out the terrain until you get a nice flat area. It's important to have a flat area, or else you're going to have problems later down the line with factory connections and with placements of the chemical factory. And now temporarily place a chemical plant down. This one is only temporary because we are going to use it as guidelines where would the stuff begin. So let's say that I want my chemicals corner to start from this side. I'm going to place it down and go into grid mode. Preferably, I want for the chemical plant to be straight. As you can see, I was lucky and I made it straight. If you don't know, grid mode is F1. Afterwards, nearby it, I'm going to place a warehouse, a large one. Don't worry if stuff doesn't connect. It should not connect at this very moment. Also, I want the warehouse to be placed near the center and with the road pointing in the direction from where the citizens will come. So if the citizens are coming from this direction, the road needs to be like this. If the citizens are coming from this direction, the road needs to be on the other side. I want the citizens coming in from over here, therefore I'll point the road in that direction. Somewhere around here should be perfectly fine. And make sure to align on the grid the warehouse with the tracks. So where the factory ends, over there you're gonna place the warehouse. Somewhere around here should be fine. Don't connect it to anything at the moment. Make sure that it's fully straight. And then grab an open storage medium, turn it around to make sure that the road points outwards, and place it as in the middle and as close as possible to the warehouse. Somewhere around here should be perfectly fine, and it's straight. Good. Now we can delete the chemicals plant over here, and now we can start building a road. Start the road from the third notch over here and build it as close as possible to the warehouse, and then some on the other side. Basically the build will be symmetrical, so it's better to have it from the get-go. Similarly on this other side, I'll do the same and connect to the warehouse. Good. Now I'll grab a conveyor engine transfer and make sure that I'm pointing it in the center. So this will be our center. And also make sure it's getting connected on the second input of the factory. The side with the road has only one input. This side with no road has two inputs. So on the second one, over here should be perfectly fine. On the other side, the same. And we can place it as close as possible. It doesn't matter. There we go. Now, we need to delete part of the road that is not connected to the warehouse. Not this one, but this one. The reasoning we are going to delete part of the road is that this is where our cargo station will go. So we want our cargo station to be as close as possible to the warehouse. Let's grab the cargo train station. I usually go with the 4-1. There's absolutely no reason and no space to go with the big one. Always go with the 91 meter one. Leave some space between, maybe 3 or 4 grid squares. So somewhere around here should be perfectly fine, and hug it as much as possible to the road. And let's allow everything to be built. Good. With everything visible, we can take a train platform for the citizens and hug it as much as possible to the road. Somewhere around here should be fine, and it's also in the center. Now, the gravel comes from the citizens area. Therefore, the conveyor engine transfer needs to come from this direction. Let's take a conveyor overpass and place it somewhere where it wouldn't block the transfer. So somewhere around here should be fine. We still need a square or half a square of the grid left for the conveyor engine start. So here should be theoretically fine. There will be a lot of fiddling at the moment, so just make sure that you have two conveyor overpasses that connect to each other on both sides. Also, in the middle, it's a great idea to leave some space for the passengers to go through, just like I did over here. It's a lot of trial and error, so if you don't get it the first time, retry until you get it. It's purely to chance. Now we should be able to connect the chemical plant. Be careful, the chemical plant has only one single aggregates connection, so make sure that is getting connected and leave it with one stud. So somewhere here should be fine for me. The reasoning we're leaving a single stud over here is because we want the passengers to be able to access this location through here. Now for the other side, flip the chemical plant until you get the desired outcome, just like this. And again, make sure it's straight to the other one. Here we go. And everything is connected. Now we can start working on the other side of the buildings. Let's have this road made a little bit longer. Oh, by the way, let's also connect this road here. And on this side, we're going to start firstly by mirroring every single road connection that is on the other side. So a footpath over here and a road connection which will go through here, and also a conveyor transfer. Now it doesn't matter if you're not placing it completely identical. In this direction, it's very important to have the exact estimate. However, you can stretch it more than you need if necessary. Let's connect the road over here. And now to build the warehouse. Similarly, the road must go into the direction which we have the road, and hug the road as much as possible. Somewhere around here should be perfectly fine. Good. Now we're gonna delete some of the passenger roads so we have space to put our aggregate storage, aggregates engine transfer. And similarly on the second connection, place one on this side, have a road built up on the other side as close as possible until the third connection, so somewhere around here. And then place your engine transfer down, making sure it also connects to the conveyor overpass, and then connecting the road. Perfect. On this side, similarly, we're going to need a conveyor overpass that goes from this engine transfer to also cover the other overpass. And now to place the chemical plant, one on this side, similarly rotate it until you get a connection. Oh, by the way, we forgot over here. Let's delete some of the road until the third connection, and also add a open storage medium. Now a chemical plant. Flip it around until it connects to the engine transfer, and make sure the engine transfer has only one single stud. So somewhere around here should be fine. The grid is important. As you can see at the moment I'm slightly lopsided and now I'm straight. So I'll leave it like this. And somewhere around here should be perfectly fine to be built. Now on the other side, similarly get the chemical plant and make sure it connects to the proper aggregate location. And make sure it has a single stud. Like this should be fine. Perfect. And we got everything connected. The next thing we want to build are 4 waste treatment plants. These you can skip them if you want. However, I highly recommend you have them in place and build them as close to the chemical factories as possible, with the whole concept of having the center where the passengers are facing the middle of your compound. As you can see already, the factory connection wants to be built. That is perfectly fine. We're gonna place it over here and one on the other side, going as much as possible in the center. Here we go, just like this should be fine. These locations of these two are not that important, as long as you can fit an incinerator small in the middle. Just like this. The road connection is also important. The waste treatment must face outwards. The incinerator must face inwards. Now on the other side, we are going to put a transfer for big garbage containers and connect it just to the incinerator. We don't connect it to the two waste treatment plants. We only care about the incinerator connection. And setting up the factory is important. The factory connections, make sure that the waste treatment plants point into the incinerator and the incinerator points into the large transfer station. On the other side, we're going to do the same shenanigan. And this will be your deal-breaking moment. If everything was placed correctly, you can have an asphalt footpath with lamps coming directly from your station. And then somewhere around here, you should be able to have a underground passage. Build one on this side, one on this side, and one on this side. Then if everything went okay, now going underground, connect your tunnels, and now you should be able to see the train platform being able to access all of the area. It seems like it's not being able to, as you can see over here. No problems. If needed, we can shorten this area down a bit more by going from over here to here. And now it should be fine. There we go. These two factory, this side is fully connected. We now need to make sure that on this side, it's also being connected. For this side, we're going to use another trick up our sleeve, namely the overpasses. And now have the bridge connected. Good. Again, with asphalt footpath with lamps. And on this side, the only thing that is impeding your progress is the cargo train station. So you can have a beeline straight to the area over here. One is connecting directly to the factory. The other one goes behind the incinerator and connects to the other. And now we just need the incinerator, which we can do with an underground passage. And now connect the underground. And then the incinerator. Now, if everything goes to plan, you should be able to see everything connected. It looks like it didn't get properly connected. And that's a problem. Let's try instead to have a underpass, and let's see if that will work. And let's see now if that fixed our problem. Almost. We just need the connection to this waste treatment plant. And we can cut some corners by making it similar on the other side too. Now, weirdly enough, it shows like it's available to reach it, but not quite. Yes, it's almost reachable. Oh, actually, it's because we did not yet connect this one here. Let's connect it. Just like this. And now we should be able, yes. Now we are reaching all of the plants exactly at the limit. And on this side too. Perfect. Now for the roads to finish them up. Let's start making the main road. This one can be dirty with no issues. Perfect. And for bridges, we're going to have a bridge going over here. Make sure it's to 9 meters. That is the perfect height to go through the factory connections. And then come back down to 0 meters. And it should be relatively close to the road. Here we go. And then connect the road. If it's auto snapping, make sure to disable near snap. Similar on this area. Perfect. With this done, we just need to connect the incinerator, come as close as possible and have a road pointing into a direction here. And make sure that it's as close as possible to the chemical plant. And have it connected to the center. Similar on this side. If it doesn't work because of the road over here, we're going to delete some of the passenger footpath. Perfect. Now let's rebuild the footpaths and revalidate that the citizens can get to the locations. Perfect. Now, the last thing that we want to do is to make sure that they can reach the chemical plants. That can be done easily. And check now that the passengers can access the 2 chemical plants. To access the other 2, go with a tunnel and then connect it over here and over here. On this side the same. Now theoretically you should be able from the train platform to access everything. Let's double check since this is our last thing we're gonna need to modify. Yes, everything looks good except one thing. The road to connect the train platform should not go through this area because we have the passenger route through here. Therefore, we're going to delete this and make sure it connects through here. and connect it just like this. If I want, I can also cancel this footpath yet again and have the road pass under the conveyor engine and then reconnect the footpath just like this. And also reconnecting it here. And we are done. Now let's handle the gravel. For the gravel, we are going to go with a slim 1000. Somewhere around here should be fine. As you can see already, it's attempting to connect to the other station too. That is perfectly fine. So we're gonna place it somewhere around here should be fine. Make sure that the road is pointing inwards. Here we go. And now connect this road over here and have a small aggregate unloading station somewhere around here should be perfectly fine. Perfect. Now to handle the rail, you're going to need tunnels. So let's build a tunnel over here as close as possible to the plan and go underground and make it around 15 meters. 12 also works. And then exit through this side. Similarly for the citizens. Just like this. Good. Now let's see if we can connect the rail over here. If it's not connectable, just in my like in my case here, no worries, we can remove the conveyor engine transfer, rebuild another conveyor overpass, but this time one that is merging into it, and try to make it connect. Here we go, just like this. And now we should have enough place for the rail to go under it. And we can connect it to the tunnel together with a switch at the beginning of the tunnel. Perfect. And also the gravel over here connected. Good. On the other side, similarly, a single tunnel should suffice. And what I like to do is also to place a waypoint, because I want my grain to only come through one single line. And then just before the waypoint, connect the other two rails. Here we go, like this should be fine. And then connect the inner one where it is possible. Perfect. So now you're going to have the grain coming over here, and the other three will be for your chemicals pickup. Good, we can finally remove the wireframe. And this is all for this factory. Oh yeah, to connect the factory buildings. By the way, now that it's built, let's zoom in a bit in the center and see a bird's eye view of the connections that are made. and also at the ends. Feel free to pause anytime you want. And now let's move to an already built location and see how the underground connections and electricity looks like, because that's also important. Here we go. Here is a similar build. As you can see, the oil location is over here. And as I mentioned, you're going to need somewhere around 12 megawatts of power. Therefore, what I've made is on each factory corner, I've placed transformers and then pulled the 8 or 6 megawatts. Let's check it out a bit. Yeah, I pulled the 6 megawatts power lines going on each corner, either 1 or 2 of them, depending on how the electricity is looking. So over here we have 2. Over here we have only a single one. Here another one. And over here another one. Other things to mention. The open storages, make sure you set them fully to wood and have 2 dedicated lines that are transporting the wood over here. Although it's in the center of the map, it's no problems for the trains to keep them fully filled with only one single train running through here. In the middle, same thing for the grain train. I have the waypoint set, so it's only accessing a single location. Then spread out your electric substations as much as possible and build as many as you want. Even in this build, as you can see, I still have electrical problems here and there. I haven't made any electricity guides, most likely that's because of it. Also, your technical services, make sure you place them outside, just nearby. And when it comes to mixed waste, make sure you're forcing them to go to one of the 2 incinerators you have. And for the hazardous waste, make sure it goes to the one of the hazardous waste treatment plants that you have. So mine goes over here. And as for the construction waste, I've created nearby a storage that gets filled with construction waste. One of the other things you can do over here is to build a rail station, a small one, and have all the construction waste from here be transported to the gravel production facility from previous guides. Apart from this, for the mixed waste, I've placed over here one of the dumps with clothes and have a train that manages to pick up all the garbage and transports it to the border. Usually the waste in here will be 20% ash, 20% construction waste. I'm too lazy and it's too inefficient to split the waste here, therefore I'll just leave it like this. One of the other reasons why the electrical problems are present here is because on this side I have one single gas power plant. By having 2, you would be better off. In regards to water, you can pull water directly from nearby the chemical plant. The chemical factory needs 67% water quality. If you have them running at full capacity, you will have somewhere around 75 to 78% water quality. So it's perfectly fine to build for each single chemical plant you have 2 small water wells together with a big water pumping station and go directly in the chemical plant. For the waste, you have from each single chemical plant going into a sewage discharge. We have 3 chemical plants on this side that are going into this waste discharge, and then this single one goes in here. Remember that you need also separate sewage tanks for your citizens and for the other factories. Over here, like this. As for the clean water, you can pull it from wherever you want. I just pulled it from one of the big water towers over here, but you can build one exactly in the city around here and then pull a pipe directly over there for the clean water. A medium pipe of water should suffice with no issues for the entire project. Apart from this, make sure you use 2 small garbage containers per chemical plant. The chemical plants generate a lot of garbage at once, and your garbage trucks might not be able to handle one single garbage container, since usually a single garbage truck will go to each big garbage container. So that's why we have 2 small big garbage containers for each factory individually. Setting them up is also important. Usually I go with the combo of 2 biological wastes, 2 construction wastes, and the rest can be set as mixed waste. Apart from this, you're going to need a dedicated line between the big garbage containers from here and from here that go directly to the claw machines. So you're going to need a small distribution office with at minimum 2 garbage trucks that transfer the mixed waste into the dump claw machine and the construction waste into the aggregate storage. And that's all about the chemicals. In terms of profits, firstly, to man this behemoth, you are going to need a whopping total of 2,950 workers per shift and almost 9,000 workers to cover all of the shifts. Average cost for one workday for me is almost 16 rubles, which means I'm losing around 144,000 on manning everything here. Therefore, the chemical industry is yet another industry where it's best kept for internal usage and just export the excess you're having. But if you're looking at just exports, you'll be making somewhere between 600 to 650k profits. Minus the workforce, you're looking at closely to 450k to 500k per month. Compared to fuel, you're making 200 to 750k less profits per month. Due to the very high complexity of the build, together with the costs, you should start thinking about building the chemical industry when you're noticing you're importing 300 plus chemicals per month. The raw resources are relatively cheap, and most likely you will have all of them built by them. I'm too lazy to calculate the profit margins for each, so I asked ChatGPT. I am unsure how well the math worked out for it, but here are the profit margins on the screen. And that's all for this guide. Subscribe to the channel to stay tuned for the next guides where we dive into more industries that use chemicals in an optimal way. Also, like the video and leave a comment down below on what you've enjoyed on this guide. This will help the video reach more people like yourself. Until next time, I'm going to enjoy this cup of cough syrup, and I'm the Honey Badger, and I'm out.